Okay, so hello everyone. Today is Saturday, December the 16th, and we are continuing in our study of the book of Enoch. So Andre, would you like to take it away?
Not a problem at all, Penn. Thank you. How's everybody doing today?
Wonderful, thank you.
As Penn started off, letting us know that we're starting with the continuing with the book of Enoch. Continuing with the book of Enoch. That we are going to delve into this. So would anyone like to give us a prayer to start us in to dive? It's been a while since we've been in it. So I think it's going to take a little rust off of me and everyone else. It's been a while since we've had a chance to dissect this. So would anyone like to bring us in on prayer? Okay. I'll go ahead and bring us in. Heavenly Father, once again, allow us to come together to digest this information, to understand, to learn, to bring us together to understand where and what you want with us and how you want us to be, and as well as to come together so we can build this as a unity and a monolith. With all this, we say peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
What happened?
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you. What?
I don't know. Penn, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just trying to send Joanne the link.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so your question was, what did we last leave on? I don't have a clue. Because I'm lost in Enoch. I'm really confused with Enoch.
Okay, so yeah. How about anyone else? Does anyone else can anyone else remember where we left off and where we were?
To start with chapter 52 this time. Chapter 51.
I mean, do you remember any of the text? Do you remember any of the information? Can you remember anything about it? I can't. I don't know.
It's a very 51 is a very short chapter, so I'll just quickly read it if that's okay.
Oh yeah, by all means.
I don't know if we can quickly do it.
Well, it's short. That's why I say I can quickly.
I don't know. When I say quickly, I don't know if I can get back to it quickly.
No. Don't change the screen. I'll just read it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Miss Harry is speaking that she has her book along with her.
Okay, so you want to read it, Harriet?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I will. Stretch out your hands to the poor according to your strength. Do not hide your silver in the earth. Help the faithful man in affliction, and affliction will not find you in the time of your trouble. And bear every gracious and cruel yoke, or grievous, and cruel yoke that comes upon you. For the sake of the Lord, and thus you will find your reward in the day of judgment. It is good to go morning, midday, and evening into the Lord's house for the glory of your Creator, because every breathing thing glorifies Him, and every creature, both physical and spiritual, gives His praise back to Him. That's it.
Okay, and that's where we left off. So we're going into So we're going into chapter 51. So before we get started,
52.
52, excuse me.
52 we're going.
Excuse me. 52. With that being spoken of, and thank you, Miss Harriet, for having a actual book so we can also follow along with the book. You know, thank ya. You know,
You're welcome.
always a lifesaver.
For real.
Where what we have just heard, knowing that we're going to another chapter, let's start off from there, just to do a reflect. And now that we've already heard that before, but now we're getting it again. How does anyone feel about that? Does anyone have any comments or questions before we delve into this next chapter?
Well, it sounded like to me, the narrator, and I can't remember, I don't know who it was, whether it was Enoch or who it is saying that don't trust in material things.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have confidence in the Lord, and you have to have confidence in that's where our strength and our salvation is.
Mm-hmm.
Not in whatever kind of money you have, especially if you're not giving it to, especially if you're not helping anyone else with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for me, I took from that too as a part of certain types of commandments. Do not hide your silver in the ground. Do not leave the sickly out. Make sure that people are okay. So it kind of reminded me of 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 reminding yourself to be a part of what's going on in the world, even though you may have more or less or anything. It's still an equal point of view. So if someone is feeling this way, then you yourself feel that way as well, unconsciously. I hope I didn't lose you all.
No.
No.
So Forrest, would you like to speak on?
I'm just listening right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, with you all's permission, would you all like to get started on the new chapter?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Joanne is on, everybody. So hey, JoJo.
Hi, Joanne.
Hey, Miss Joe.
Hey
Hi,
everybody, how y'all doing? It was like Zoom didn't want me to come today, but I'm here.
We're glad you're here.
Actually,
Good.
I started late, so I was running late. So so everything happened in perfect timing.
Yes.
Okie dokie. All right, glad to be with y'all today.
We're always glad to have you.
Thank you.
Blessed is the man who opens his lips in praise of God of Sabaoth.
So yeah,
and praises
would
the
we like
Lord
to get started with this new chapter?
Cursed
Already
is
started.
every man who
Oh,
opens
okay.
his lips for the bringing into contempt and calumny of his neighbor, because he brings God into contempt. Blessed is he who opens his lips, blessing and praising God. Cursed is he before the Lord all the days of his life, who opens his lips to curse and abuse. Blessed is he who blesses all the Lord's works. Cursed is he who brings the Lord's creation into contempt. Blessed is he who looks down and raises the fallen. Cursed is he who looks to and is eager for the destruction of what is not his. Blessed is he who keeps the foundations of his fathers made firm from the beginning. Cursed is he who perverts the decrees of his forefathers. Blessed is he who imparts peace and love. Cursed is he who disturbs those that love their neighbors. Blessed is he who speaks with humble tongue and heart to all. Cursed is he who speaks peace with his tongue, while in his heart there is no peace, but a sword. For all these things will be laid bare in the weighing scales and in the books on the day of the great judgment.
Okay. Oh, I did it right. Did you want to? Did you want to stop there? Hello?
Andre, you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. I'm sorry. I don't know how I muted myself. Yeah, that was the perfect place to stop because I didn't know how long that was gonna go. So uh with what we just again just heard and talked about again with what Miss Harriet just read to us from the previous chapter, is it that how do you feel that it's us getting what is being spoken of is again the a commandment of how to be righteous and how to um conduct yourself. Do you all see that, or what do you see with the difference of being blessed and being cursed?
Well, can we look up the definitions of blessing and cursing?
Oh yeah.
I can. Blessing. According to the Oxford Language Dictionary, God's favor and protection. A prayer asking for God's favor and protection. Grace said before or after a meal. Definitions for blessing. And you said curse. Penny?
Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the definition for curse, a solemn utterance intended to invoke a supernatural power to inflict harm or punishment on someone or something. A coarse or blasphemous word or phrase used to express anger or other strong emotion. So we want to bless and not curse.
So I guess that when God is the one that's doing the blessing and God is the one that's doing the cursing.
Well, I think when we accept what we accept, I think that's what these I guess I don't want to call them rules, but what is being said is that you will be blessed for this, you will be cursed for that. So I don't want to call them rules, but um doctrines to live by, just the normal things that we all know. Wash your hands, you know, be courteous to people, look out for your fellow man and things like that. I think that's what it's again uh, giving again. I think these commandments are being passed down to that first generation because we're still dealing with Enoch.
Mm-hmm.
So someone is telling Enoch these things, and what is being said so far from what we've heard is no different from the commandments that we know from Moses.
Mm-hmm. My thoughts on that are they're warnings. In other words, you will be blessed if you in my opinion, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And if you are thinking kindly of them, no matter how they are treating you, you treat them kindly, you treat them in the same way that you wish to be treated, then you will be blessed. On the other hand, if someone is not treating you very kindly and you in turn treat them unkindly, then you will be cursed. So to me, it's a warning. They're warnings.
Yeah, but how would you, I mean, because like some of them was, if you if you speak in peace, but in your heart you have a sword,
Mhm.
then you're cursed. But
Right.
only that individual knows that, and so the cursing would come within that. So I guess that it's kind of like you're gonna reap what you sow.
Mhm.
From if you put out negativity, you will receive negativity. But in the idea of curses, you don't know when you will receive the curse,
Mhm.
because it might not ever look like you have been cursed. There have been people throughout the centuries who have always looked like good people. We're learning now that the people we have been told were honorable, good men were really not honorable, good men. So, but for generations, they had been considered honorable, good men. So I guess
Well, I don't think that has anything to do with a curse in that manner. I think that, I mean, where it is that what you reap you will sow. If you sow suffering into something that will benefit you but take away from someone else or something else, or polluting the land, or mistreating, because it's also spoke on this, how you know that you're not supposed to mistreat the animals as well, some certain things. So I think this is a doctrine that is leading ahead above I don't want to say ahead above the 10 commandments, but it's saying exactly what the 10 commandments were saying. So again, I feel that there was a loss in culture, again, because if we're studying the book of Enoch, which we're studying, and we're listening to this, and we're saying that this comes before, before, and it's also not put in our Bible, our known Bible, then therefore this knowledge has not been given to us. So therefore, why wasn't this given to us? Were we being looked upon at the first, that we're getting our first 10 commandments from those just first 10 commandments that were boiled down? Thou shalt not do this, because we're on number 14 and we still got more to go, of how to be blessed in how to be blessed, and how not to be cursed. And that's not what the 10 commandments give us. They tell us just thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. It doesn't give us a reason why we shall not. And I think right now we're getting the definitions on why we shall not. Is anybody with me? Or
Yeah.
so I don't necessarily think it's a point of view of, again, um the will of the state of society that society created. I think it's the will of the testament that had to be created for us to distinguish that we are different from animals. See, we're still dealing with it. We're still dealing in, this is before BC. As great and as smart and as giants and everything that they had, it's still a difference on how they look upon things. So it's still an animalistic point of view. And I
so it's
think
not
that is
about
what Enoch,
individuals.
Yeah, and I think that's what I think that's what Enoch is bringing down, which is this is not an animalistic point of view. You don't have to think animalistic, because again, I think it's lost again. But that, I mean, that's just my personal opinion. Now, by all means, I would like to hear everyone else's opinion on what they think is going on at this point in time.
Well, for me, I think that he's talking about how to live individually. You know, that if if you do this, you'll be blessed. And like that's in Deuteronomy. You know, there's that whole I think it's the 28th chapter was all about blessing and cursing. You know, if you'll be blessed if you do this, and you'll be cursed if you do that. So it looks like for me that this is how, what will happen to you individually. If you will curse somebody, I mean, you'll be cursed if you'll be blessed if you do this. I can't remember now. I can't remember which ones, what the words, what the phrases were. But
Yeah.
that the individual would be blessed if the individual lives in this way. And I'm thinking that it's like, that it has to do with the spirit itself. That your spirit itself that moves from one phase to another, from one dimension, one phase to another, one phase of dimension to another phase of dimension. So that if you have lived peacefully, blessing, then you will move on to this next phase of blessing. But if you have lived in a cursed way, you will continue to
I feel you. I'm with
curse.
you. Oh no, I was just saying I'm with you. I understand. If you live in that, if you're living that lower vibration, what we call it a lower. If you accept that lower vibration, I guess.
Yeah, that's then in the next phase of existence, however it works, that you will be cursed, tied to whatever curse means. And that you will be tied to that curse that continues from your previous lifestyle, from your previous vibration. Yeah, I guess that's just how I'm seeing it.
Yeah. And that's why I said, I mean, it's so cool that we untied that knot. That's so cool. Miss Harriet or Forrest, would y'all like to, or Miss Joe, would you like to speak on any connections that you can see with what we just read or what we just heard and dissected, that is a connection that goes on with you all?
Well, for me personally speaking, I find that when I'm peaceful within and throw out good vibes, good things come my way. But if I have a nasty attitude, don't nothing work my way. That's the best I can explain it, because I was like you said earlier, why didn't we know about these books of Enoch? Because this wasn't exposed to me until I met y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not ashamed to say it. I don't know it all.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm older, I don't know it all. I'm like, the book of Enoch. I mean, when you first got into it, T-Man, I was like, what is he talking about? So I did a little exploring myself.
Yeah, and I think and that's where, I mean, I'm kind of curious right now with this chapter that we are right now, because it was breaking down certain things again. And and me myself, I'm learning this chapter along with you all as well. So I'm interpreting this part. I've read what I've read, but now I'm now in deep water. I learned how to swim, as they would say. I learned how to swim. So I jumped into the 8 feet, and and I thank you all for being there with me, and taking that journey with me. Uh, so when I ask those questions, like as far as what happens, if thou shalt not do this, and thou shalt not do that, and
But
thou
don't
can't.
karma come back on all of us when we do wrong?
But and that's what I mean.
In
But
time, yeah.
we usually just hear thou shalt not, and
Yeah,
we know
okay.
thou shalt not. But this is giving us a clearer definition of, if you do this, there is a, that
Consequences.
yeah, there are
Mhm.
consequences, and those consequences are curses. It may not be tomorrow that this happens to you. It may
Right.
be next week that this happens to you. It may not even be in your lifespan when this happens to you.
It might be passed on to the next generation.
It can be, yeah, it alters who we are in our thought process, and with our thought process, our just change. Then our DNA is changed. So it's kind of all kind of coming together when you look at it from that point of view of thou shalt not. Now, like I say, I more or less enjoy listening to it from an Egyptian point of view, which is you you're asked that question and then you answer it. Have you ever? No, I haven't. Have you ever? No, I haven't. Because then you're dealing with the truth. Because even if you say yes or no, at least you're being truthful. At least you're being truthful in spirit. You may have been not truthful in life, but at least you can be truthful in spirit. So it's that point of view right there. I don't know if that's a forgiveness point of view, or what, or how those curses work, but but what I see that we just explained, um through these life lessons of, whether you hear it as thou shalt not, or you will do this, or blessed be, or cursed is, right from wrong. So when you take upon the mantle of doing something, and making a conscious decision, you have to live with that choice. That's not God's choice anymore. That's not his choice to tell you that's a good job and give you $1 million for that. No, that's your choice. It can take you there, or it can not take you there. I hope I haven't lost everyone.
No.
No,
Nope.
And that makes a lot of sense, because when we're taking away, words like blessed and words like curse, and putting in, positive vibrations and positive frequencies compared to negative vibrations and negative frequencies, or higher or lower vibrations. Now we're seeing that if you are making negative or lower vibrational choices, then that carries on from this lifetime into the next life, and or higher vibrations carries from this life into the next. Reincarnation, I would think that this makes a difference, or whatever balance it is, because I think it did end up, that you would about the scales, wasn't it? Didn't it end up like that?
Yeah, and we bound, and again, scales are balanced. The
Mhm.
scales have to be balanced, and if they're imbalanced, it's gonna go that way. Um, so again, I'm looking at it from a point. I'm me personally. I'm just looking at it, and I'm intrigued to go a little bit further to see what else has to be said because we're only in 14, and
Well,
from
50,
what I
we getting ready to be in 53.
well as far as the what was as far as thou shalt not, we're on 14.
What do you
Blessed
mean?
as far as what was being said, blessed and cursed. Blessed are who does this. Blessed, cursed are who does this. We're on number 14.
Okay.
When we start the
Cursed
Okay.
is he who speaks peace with his tongue, while in his heart there is no peace but a sword.
yes, we're on those parts. So I'm interested to see how that goes because it does entangle to what we are talking about and how to live. And if this is Enoch, why was this taken away from us? I mean, we can go to the alien part and all those other things, but just the genuine knowledge, why was it taken from us and why was it hidden?
That's
So
Good questions.
good. You want me to go ahead? Oh, go ahead, Harriet. I'm sorry.
Now, that verse that Andre is speaking of, it's like the individual who says, I love you with his mouth, but in his heart, he's in a turmoil. He
Despise
hates
you.
you. Yeah,
mhm,
exactly. Thank
mhm,
you.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
And it's what we often call the hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, when you say one thing and act in another way, you are the one that's going to have to suffer. If I tell
Mhm.
you I love you, and then I'm carrying all kind of animosity and wishing all kind of bad things to happen to you, even though I'm saying I love you, I'm the one that's going to have to, that really in the end is going to suffer the consequences,
Miss
not
Harry,
you.
Miss Harry, you right about that. I stay off the street because of buses, because there's a lot of people that I be like, I got buses coming for you. Yeah, but that is just as simple as a curse word. A curse word doesn't have to be you're a dirty
Mhm.
mother
Mm-hmm.
or F you or you this or I mean just to wish bad on someone
Yeah.
Mhm.
is a curse.
Yeah, that's what I think a curse is.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
is.
Other than that, it's just cussing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
otherwise you just running your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But I was reading something just the last day or two that was a reminder that even when you worry, if you're worried about something, that's a prayer. When you say something bad or think something bad or wish something bad on somebody, that's a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what that told me was be mindful of your thoughts at
Mm-hmm.
all times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see it. I mean, I will be honest and say I don't see that as a prayer. I see that as you seeing someone's light and it scares you. Because one
Mhm.
thing about it is, as much as we're scared of the dark, most people don't want to actually be to admit that they're scared of the light as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, because what is the light? What is the light?
Mm-hmm.
Truth.
yeah,
And
and
if you're
truth,
afraid of the truth, what do you have
truth
to
hurts.
hide?
You know,
Yeah.
sometimes, I mean, and unfortunately for some people, truth can hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's why we we make a motto of telling ourselves that we live by truth. I like Forrest when Forrest says that he's gonna live by his truth because it's his truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you don't mind me throwing you in, brother, I ain't forgot about you. You know, it's but his time, his space, his essence is his truth. Miss Joe's is too.
Mm-hmm.
Am I blessed to be a part with Penn's and Miss Harriet's and mine as well? You know, are we blessed to be a part of each other's? Yeah, and I think that's the breakdown of why we want to. What I'm hearing from what we're speaking is again to deal with each other as we're supposed to, which is delicately. We're not supposed to deal with each other in a harsh manner, even if it's a stern manner, because we can hurt ourselves.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're fully capable of running into our own walls. We do it on a daily basis,
All the
whether it
time.
be a physical, whether it be a physical or a mental or a spiritual, or we can scare each other. We have enough fear in our own, and one person has enough fear in the world to scare the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one person has enough fear to say, don't trust these people, and wars go on.
Yeah.
And we have it happening right now, T-Man. We
Oh,
got
yes.
Trump trying to scare everybody that he needs to be the president again. Oh,
You know, so these are the things that I think that we're listening to. And imagine this is Enoch. This is not even this is Moses ain't even been thought of. Moses people ain't been born, let alone Jesus or anybody else. This is BC. This is BCE. This is before Common Era. And they were still dealing with the same problems in society that we're dealing with now, and that we're breaking down and trying to unlock the keys to say, how do we live as what God made us, which are human beings. We're still trying to figure that part out. So, I mean, I don't want to go. I don't mean to take up time, but I think those were powerful things, and I'm glad to hear that you all are still enjoying the Book of Enoch and using your imaginations to look to draw back and look and listen, and listen to me ramble and see it in my eyes in the way that I see it in my time when I look back, because that's how I see it. So, I thank you all for being there for me and listening to me to be able to give this knowledge, and however you all take it, definitely, I hope it should definitely make a better person out of all of us. It should definitely make us a whole person, because we know that there's knowledge missing.
Yeah.
So if
And
you all would like to keep on, or if you all want to just continue with just having an open discussion, I'm fine.
I just want to ask a couple of questions. First of all, Enoch, we know, is the I think the great grandfather of Noah.
Yes.
Am I correct in that?
Yes.
So that means, and the great flood, all of this occurs in the book of Genesis, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
See,
So this is Enoch.
this is
This is
Enoch.
eons before
The
Moses.
flood ain't even happened yet.
Exactly. And this is eons before Moses even brings us the Ten Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
Because that, and of course, if you read the Bible, it just seems like thousands of years. But when you look at it metaphysically, scientifically, it's millions and billions of years. And I think the way the story is told is being told in a way that the average individual can better understand what's going on around them, and to help them to live better lives, to be better human beings, to be God-loving creatures. And my thoughts, as far as the book of Enoch is concerned, we often, I'm sure we've all heard the old cliche, the truth can hurt. And I think that is why the book of Enoch was left out of the canon that we call our Bible, is because he is giving us these hard truths that we as human beings really don't want to face. But, I want to know the whole truth.
Yeah.
And that's me personally. And whether it hurts or not, and sometimes those hurting truths makes us stronger. It makes us better human beings. It makes us better individuals.
Well, yeah. Anyone else? Any questions, comments?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good so far. I'm trying to follow you.
Okay, so I think we can if you don't mind, I think we can continue along. What time are we at? I'm still keeping time.
I don't think it's 3 o'clock yet, is it?
I have,
Nope, we
I have
got 10 minutes to 3.
2:50.
So.
Okay. Ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
53. And now, my children, do not say our Father is standing before God and is praying for our sins, for there is no helper of any man who has sinned. You see how I wrote all works of every man before his creation, all that is done amongst all men for all time, and none can tell or relate my handwriting. Because the Lord sees all imaginings of man, how they are vain, where they lie in the treasure houses of the heart. And now, my children, mark well all the words of your father that I tell you, lest you regret, saying, why did not our father tell us?
Oh, that's it.
54.
Oh, well, you want to do 54 too? Because it only seems like it's only 2 paragraphs. Do we want to do 53 and 54?
We can continue.
Okay.
At that time, not understanding this, let these books which I have given you be for an inheritance of your peace. Hand them to all who want them, and instruct them, that they may see the Lord's very great and marvelous works.
Okay. Yeah, so just that, just that by itself kind of emphasizes what Harriet just said, is that's the reason that they didn't put it in. Whoever the editors were that decided, what the canon would be. They didn't put this in because, first of all, there was in that first sentence that there is nobody who is going to save you. So then that would have been a question about, okay, where I thought Jesus was the one who was supposed to save us. So that would have caused up too many questions. And that that last chapter 54 was just saying that we're giving these books to anyone who wants to hear them. but it wasn't until like the 1600s, closer to the until like the 1500s, until the 1500s, that they decided that everybody could read the the scriptures. They didn't even want the people to read the scriptures. And as a matter of fact, when I was a child, as a Catholic,
Yeah, you're not allowed to read the
Bible.
you're not allowed to read the Bible.
Yeah, I was told not to read the Bible.
And that goes all and yeah, and Penn, you're right on that. Not to overstate you, but yeah, 1600. No, I mean that goes up to modern day time, where you I'm gonna make a joke, so excuse me, y'all. Where you would see the evangelist tents, like in Omaha, and they just be out there and and they be in the tents, and it was a revival for something. They were not allowed to have Bibles in their houses. Like what they call the Bible Belt is really not. They don't actually know scripture.
We were told you could have a Bible, but you couldn't read it because you wouldn't be able to
allowed to read it.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to understand it. That's what we were told. You could have a Bible in your house, but you would never be able to understand it.
And wait a minute. How does somebody know what I can or cannot understand? Are they in my mind? Are they able to see what I am thinking, how I'm thinking, how I'm viewing things?
Well, the thing about it was they put measures into making sure that those didn't happen. Most Bibles most older Bibles, as far as those generations that we're speaking of, were written in Latin. So you had to study Latin. Well, most people didn't even know how to read. Most people didn't make it most people didn't go to the 3rd grade because they had to work, especially if you're in America. In 1865 or something like that.
I'll be right back.
Those Bibles were written in English, because that's what that whole Gutenberg Bible was. But that's what the Geneva Bible, all of that was.
Yeah.
That's what that Protestantism. That's where Protestantism.
That's what
that regular everyday people could read the Bible, which were mostly just rich people, because nobody could afford a book,
But isn't it a trip that no matter wherever you, and I'm actually gonna do that. That's a trip that I'm doing that. But isn't it a trip that no matter whatever door was kicked in or down for Christianity, it gave Christianity a point to thrive?
Oh yeah.
No matter wherever you are, no matter if you're a Baptist or a Protestant or you may have your differences. We may all have our differences with one another because of certain things, but the message is still the same message, and it's us that are fighting each other.
Yeah, from propaganda.
Yeah,
from propaganda.
So isn't it amazing that you go from y'all can't read these, you are not allowed to read these texts unless you can speak Latin, you can do this or you can do that, or you're wholly ordained or this, that, and the fifth, to the point that that is the most covenant book that everyone has in their households across the world, but yet and still no one understands it. Everyone does not pick it up. They go to church, maybe Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Maybe be a 7-day evangelist. Maybe a what's the people from Salt Lake City, Penn? Yeah, maybe Jehovah's Witness. Maybe what's the people from Salt Lake City? What's the people?
Mormons.
Mormons. Thank you.
Mormons.
The Mormons. Maybe may just be some down house Black Baptists.
You're so funny.
But yet and still, You lose, but yet and still, whoever is lead loses the message because they're trying to because we spend so much time trying to make people do what we want them to do
Mm-hmm.
instead of letting people just do what they do. No, now again, there are certain rules, and I think those are the rules that we were just being placed again, just the same as those are the rules that were being placed in front of Moses, which is no, you can't eat people. No, you can't steal your neighbor's wife. No, you can't you can't hit him in the head with a rock. You know, this is the things that distinguish you from being what we would call an animal, because an animal as a predator has to go out here and hunt for their food. We don't have to necessarily hunt for our food. We've always been gathering our food. We hunt each other. Hope I didn't get too deep, but
No, you didn't.
so I think when it comes to wherever you call yourself in breaking down a Christianity, you always have to remind yourself that no matter what, if you're a Christian, you're a Christian, and that means you have to accept your your brothers and your sisters. Just the same as you are a Buddhist or anything else. I guess. I don't think you have to agree with them and bow to them, but but that's the corruption in people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
and that's
And
what corrupt.
at
That's
some
what
level,
corruption.
I get it that, yeah, it's easier if, if we have our own information and we can read it for ourselves, which is what we're doing now. But because some people are responsible with the word, because the word can be a very dangerous thing. And when I say the word, I mean any sacred literature. It, it
Exactly.
can it can be a very dangerous,
Depending
and some people
on
are
who's
irresponsible with it, and I think
yes.
that, when people who choose to be responsible, they turn it into love, and they look forward to be aligned with creation, and they look to be their perfect Christ self. And for those who want to abuse or misuse or don't, or only see it um for something for a lower vibration, that's what they're gonna get from it, and that's what they're gonna spread. So, I think that's why I think it is very, very important that everybody reads it for themselves. So at least I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's why I was bringing that point up as far as having no matter whether you call yourself Christian, Baptist, or however you whatever denomination, the doors were kicked in for us to fight, to understand this knowledge that was not supposed to be given to us again. We are not supposed to be free thinkers. Society in its whole is not supposed to be free thinkers. We're supposed to be sheep.
Mm-hmm.
It got out and it got out of hand again. And it got
Mm-hmm.
out of hand again
Yep.
because the knowledge got out. But you can't stop you can't stop the truth
Can't stop the truth.
you can't stop the truth.
Mm-mm.
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 You know, eventually somebody who has been telling that lie is gonna feel bad about that lie and tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Either
think,
that or go and hide under a rock.
yeah, but eventually they will tell the truth. And when that truth is once that truth is out there, It's nothing that can be, because it the truth spreads just as fast as a lie does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
The
Yeah.
difference is people.
But why is it?
The difference is
Why
people
is
will
it
accept the
that?
lie. People will accept the lie. I'm gonna answer you before you stop. And I'm sorry, Miss Harriet. People will accept the lie because the lie sound better. It tastes better.
Yeah, you did answer my question. My question was, why is it they will accept and believe a lie before they will accept and believe a truth when all the facts are right there in front of them?
Because the lie tastes better.
Exactly. Exactly. There was something else that oh, you talk about reading the Bible. And yes, we should read the Bible. There are going to be parts of it that you don't understand. But in time, if it is for you to understand, you will get that knowledge and understanding of those passages that perhaps baffled you the first time you read them.
Mm-hmm.
I never will forget once, and I mean, I had committed it to memory as a child. And one day, and this has been within the past 5, 6 years maybe, I read the 23rd Psalm as part of my quiet time. And for some reason or other, that particular morning when I read that 23rd Psalm, it struck me like it had never struck me before. And like I said, I had committed it to memory as a child. So why was that? Because it was something that I had to know and understand at that particular moment in time. It was something that I needed to look closely at.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're reading the Bible, like I said, yes, I mean, yes, sure. There are parts of it that baffle me. But in time, when the time is right for me to know what the message is for me, not for you, not for somebody else, the message is for me. And when it's time for me to get it, I'm going to get it. Just like when it's time for you to get a passage or something that you read that has baffled you for years, all of a sudden, one day, the light bulb will come on and it will be a bright light.
Mm-hmm.
As far as that truth is concerned. So, and I remember going to church as a child and hearing the minister say that the Bible was the dustiest book in the house because people didn't read it, but yet and still they're telling us not to read it. I mean, that
Yeah.
don't even make sense to me.
Yeah. And I'll give you an example. I just laughed. Where I'm at mom's house right now, and then we're getting everything set for Christmas. So Christmas Town is here. We playing Charlie Brown Christmas and hanging out. We had to go into the Bible yesterday. I asked my mom. I said, "Hey, mom, don't throw that away." And it's something that it was just something that I made from maybe when I was maybe in the first grade, but it's been just hanging around whatever house we at. Just one of those things that just hang around on your refrigerator or something. And you just don't get rid of it. And I say, "Hey, mom, don't get rid of that. I think that's our protection. So let's put that in the Bible." And I opened my mom's Bible to put it in the Bible. She was like, "Yeah, we're gonna put him in the Bible. He need to go in the Bible." And to open the drawer to get into my mom's Bible, it was so full of so many, and it wasn't a bad thing. It was so many of so many memories and so many people and so many things that's happened that has just been put in, just we're gonna stick this in the Bible. We're gonna stick this in the Bible. We so I think that's I think when we do things like that and we honor and understand that, yeah, we are honoring the words in things, no matter whatever religion or book you read or God that you pray to. No one says that you're not supposed to. No one says that you're not supposed to. No one's saying, hey, don't do that. They saying, okay, don't do now old school Mesopotamian, but I mean that's my type of those my type of people. But no one it's already saying something that you all say when we close our sessions, which is it is done. It has occurred. And all we have to do is just bask in the glory of being a being. And I think I think I messed myself up saying that. But just being a being, being something that is actually breathing and living and smiling and crying and reproducing and loving and hating, just experiencing in that standpoint. I think that's a reward in its own self. Miss Joe, Miss Forrest, Penn, have I lost you all?
No, you haven't.
No.
I'm enjoying hearing everything you're saying.
I really don't want to sound like I'm preaching, but it's just flying out today. So,
If you're preaching, we love what you're saying.
I just, so I mean, I just see what we're doing and how Inner Haven is doing this and allowing us to take these chapters and break them down. So I don't want to take up too much time. So Penn, go ahead and take the mic from me because I ain't gonna stop.
55. My children, behold, the day of my term and time have approached. For the angels who shall go with me are standing before me, and urge me to my departure from you. They are standing here on earth, awaiting what has been told them. For tomorrow I shall go up on to heaven, to the uppermost Jerusalem, to my eternal inheritance. Therefore, I bid you do before the Lord's face all his good pleasure. 56.
Do we want to stop or want to do 56? Okay, so let me ask a question before we do 56. So Enoch is saying that he knows that it's that his time is just about over and that he's about to ascend. Is that what he was saying there?
I believe so.
That's what I took.
That's what I understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he knew it was just about his time to ascend. And I think that that's interesting too, because when you look at Jesus, he also knew it was, that his time was over. And it was and his time was about to, and he was about to ascend. So I think that it's interesting that the closer you are to being in alignment with truth, that your circumstance, because the majority of us, we don't know when our time is up. We wake up in the morning thinking that we got all day, and not knowing when it's going to be our ending time. So I think that it's really interesting that he knew, and he was saying, okay, y'all, I'm about to go and I'm about to ascend. And I think that that's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Penn. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine going downstairs to eat breakfast and like, hey, y'all ain't gonna see me in 30 days.
Yeah.
I mean, and the average human being I mean, us, we wouldn't be able to take that. It takes strong people to do that. And I do think that people do get to those terms.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people that have gone through dementia or cancer or just old age and things have and life has given them and they go, hey, yeah, I'm good, I'm okay. And I think that's the best part about it, when you are not fighting on that end, when you
Mm-hmm.
find yourself not fighting to live, and we spend majority of our life fighting to live. What if we just what if we're just born and we just live,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, weird weird to say, very weird even for me to say it. But like I say, I'm learning through these chapters with you all on this part of Enoch. But yeah, what if we are not, what if we are being trained as well as or retrained to do what we're supposed to do, which is just to exist, period.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pen, I know we were going to move on, but any questions or comments?
No.
Okay.
Methuselah, having answered his father Enoch, said, What is agreeable to your eyes, father, that I may make before your face, that you may bless our dwellings and your sons, and that your people may be made glorious through you, and then that you may depart thus, as the Lord said? Enoch answered to his son Methuselah and said, Hear, child, from the time when the Lord anointed me with the ointment of his glory, there has been no food in me, and my soul remembers not earthly enjoyment, neither do I want anything earthly. 57. My child Methuselah, summon all your brethren and all your household and the elders of the people, that I may talk to them and depart, as is planned for me. And Methuselah made haste and summoned his brethren, Regem, Reman, Achan, Shemayan, Gadad, and all the elders of the people before the face of his father Enoch. And he blessed them and said to them, 58. Listen to me, my children, today. In those days when the Lord came down onto earth for Adam's sake and visited all his creatures, which he created himself, after all these he created Adam. And the Lord called all the beasts of the earth, all the reptiles, and all the birds that soar in the air, and brought them all before the face of our father Adam. And Adam gave names to all things living on earth. And the Lord appointed him ruler over all, and subjected to him all things under his hands, and made them dumb, and made them dull, that they may be commanded of man, and be in subjection and obedience to him. Thus also the Lord created every man Lord over all his possessions. The Lord will not judge a single soul of beast for man's sake, but adjudges the souls of men to their beasts in this world. For men have a special place, and every soul of man is according to number. Similarly, beasts will not perish, nor all souls of beasts, which the Lord created till the great judgment, and they will accuse man if he feed them ill. 59. Whoever defiles the soul of beasts defiles his own soul. For man
Hey, can we
brings
stop right
clean
there real quick?
animals to make
If y'all don't mind.
sacrifice for sin.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty heavy.
Yes, it was. And as he was reading it, what I was seeing there were parallels between Enoch and Jesus, because they both ascended. They both knew when their time, they knew when their time was up. They both gathered those that were nearest and dearest to them around them to, I guess, have the final farewell. I mean, there are so many parallels, and another reason why this was probably left out, because because of those parallels is probably why it was left out. This book was left out of the canon that we know as the Bible. Did anybody else see it that way?
Well, I've seen me myself personally. I've seen the parallel. I again, it brought a point to me of how of him telling how we are supposed to conduct ourselves again and discipline ourselves. Yes, we are the shepherds of the world. We are, yes, the animals of this world are subjugated to us, but that does not mean that they are slaves to us, which I think is going back to what you would say, Miss Harriet, is why this was left out. Because knowing this, you can't make if all men are kings and loyal in their own right, then how can you subjugate a man and treat a man or a woman as a slave or an animal and subjugate them? It's wrong in the eyes of So I think, again, something that is left out because of that. So I do agree with you. I do like how it is spoken that also that nature has a place to play in that no animal no vegetable has a vendetta with us, doing what we, on how we live. But when we take it to an extreme measure, there goes a point where now we're judged by creation through the animal's eyes, because we should know better. Like it was said that men are supposed to do this because not because they're different from anything, but because they are in a special place.
What do you mean by that?
Well, that means that we are looked upon in the eyes of creation differently than what he allowed us to subjugate.
Okay.
Again, not saying subjugate is not using it in a way of a human way, but it ended up being perverted into a human way where we subjugated ourselves. If we can, if we can subjugate the animals, we can subjugate ourselves, and that's where we have right now. So again, we're dealing with Enoch, where this is before the flood, so we ain't even seen it got bad yet. Anyone else?
No, that was interesting.
Miss Joe, would you like to comment?
No, to make sure I'm following this right. Enoch and all this was before Christ, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Enoch, I'll break it down for you, Miss Joe. Enoch is like Jesus' great grandfather.
Damn.
Wow.
Like this is like he's back there. This is way before Christ.
Yeah,
Okay.
Enoch is like in the fourth is in the 4th chapter of Genesis.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's where they talk about Enoch, when they talk about the different generations.
Yeah, the genealogies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and isn't it something like 14 generations? It's broken down into segments of 14 generations. I forget now how many generations there are, how many of those 14 generation segments there are between Enoch and Jesus.
Yeah, but somehow, I mean, through that bloodline,
Mhm.
you get Enoch, you get Abraham, you get Jesus, you get Moses, you get, and it continues along. So,
And I find it interesting, kind of a little off the subject. I find it interesting in speaking of those generations, that there are women that are included in that lineage. And they're not women that would be considered like the Virgin Mary, best way to put it.
no,
Because there's Rahab.
yeah, you have Rahab, you have Hagar, you have,
Exactly.
and so it's the genealogy point of that part. But yes, if you're looking at it, Miss Joe, from that point of view, we reading Jesus's grandfather's diary.
All right, gotcha.
And how
Thank
many
you.
greats go in front of that grand?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
however many greats going, I mean, but you've heard Abraham, you've heard Moses, and all them.
Yes, yes.
So this is the HNIC. This is where it starts.
Okay.
This is before Noah. So this is B. So this is BN. This is before Noah,
Okay.
which we call BCE, which is before Common Era.
Mhm.
There you go,
So,
teacher.
oh well, thank you.
Good job. Good job.
Well, it is almost 3:26. Pen. How would you like to continue, or would you like to just
Well, we
continue
got
the
this one is
discussion?
only like four sentences.
Okay.
Okay.
In that he may have cure of his soul. And if they bring for sacrifice clean animals and birds, man has cure. He cures his soul. All that's given you for food, bind it by the 4 feet, that is to make good the cure. He cures the soul. But whoever kills beast without wounds kills his own souls and defiles his own flesh. And he who does any beast any injury whatsoever in secret, it is an evil practice, and he defiles his own soul. 60. He who works the killing of a man's soul kills his own soul and kills his own body, and there is no cure for him for all time. He who puts a man in any snare shall stick in it himself, and there is no cure for him for all time. He who puts a man in any vessel, his retribution will not be wanting at the great judgment for all time. He who works crookedly or speaks evil against any soul will not make justice for himself for all time. 61.
Okay, where did you want to discuss any of that?
Well, that sounds like politics right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because I think, going back to our original subject, that's really why they didn't want to put this in, because they did want to keep people down, and they didn't feel that everybody had the right to listen to or to hear or to understand this wisdom, because nobody would put up with having to be put down. And
the truth.
just to think that if you were going to be cruel to your animal, that your animal that would be one of the reasons that you would be hurled against, you know. Anybody
Yeah,
else?
I'm teasing and I'm laughing, but yeah, Pen, I'm with you on you know, we're so used to seeing a point of view of an ancient civilization where it was chaos and confusion and nobody had a will and everybody was just crazy and just clubs everywhere and everybody wearing long cloths. That's not how it was. And I think when we look at it, when we start to see society and the way that society is, you know, we go back into certain parts of society. So like you were just saying, no, you're not supposed to mistreat your animals. However you mistreat your animals is how you treat the people who work for you, or how you treat, your wife, or how you treat your children. And it's always someone will always show you who they are. So I think, just to break it down to, when people show you who they are, believe them.
Right.
If you can say, hey man, I'm gonna disrespect my wife in front of you, and I'm like, hey, shut up, and this, that, and the fifth. Well, I know how you treat your dog. If you treat your wife like that, I know how you treat your dog. Or I know how you talk to your children. So, and it goes back to, that's that infection. There goes that curse again. There goes that curse again. So will we not call it a curse and call it an infection? When you do wrong to other people, and when you do wrong, you can infect people.
I think that's what negative energy does.
Yeah. Instead of looking at it as a curse, like we would think of a curse, is it an infection?
Say that again, Andre.
Is instead of looking at certain things in the way that people treat one another, is it a curse or is it an infection?
I think it's a curse.
Because negative energy or negative thoughts, they not only do they affect that one individual, but it affects everybody else that goes along.
Yeah, so is a curse
Anybody else that
that's what I'm asking. Is it, will we look at it as a curse, as an infection?
It could be both.
Yeah,
And the reason I say that, it's an infection, and usually an infection is something that is spread. It's almost like a virus. I mean, it gets in the air and it affects everybody in the environment. And it is also a curse in that it does not mean good.
Oh wow.
Well, what time is it now? It's 3:30. Do you want to try this one last one? Because it's just 3:32.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we might have enough time for that.
And now, my children, keep your hearts from every injustice which the Lord hates. Just as a man asks something for his own soul from God, so let him do to every living soul. Because I know all things, how, in the great time to come, there is much inheritance prepared for men, good for the good, and bad for the bad, without number many. Blessed are those who enter the good houses, for in the bad houses there is no peace, nor return from them. Hear, my children, small and great. When man puts a good thought in his heart, brings gifts from his labors before the Lord's face, and his hands made them not, then the Lord will turn away his face from the labor of his hand, and that man cannot find the labor of his hands. And if his hands made it, but his heart murmur, and his heart cease not making murmur incessantly, he has not any advantage. 62. Blessed is the man who in his patience brings his gifts with faith before the Lord's face, because he will find forgiveness of sins. But if he take back his words before the time, there is no repentance for him. And if the time pass, and he do not of his own will what is promised, there is no repentance after death, because every work which man does before the time is all deceit before men, and sin before God. 63. When man clothes the naked and fills the hungry, he will find reward from God. But if his heart murmur, he commits a double evil, ruin of himself and of that which he gives. And for him there will be no finding of reward on account of that. And if his own heart is filled with his food and his own flesh, clothed with his own clothing, he commits contempt and will forfeit all his endurance of poverty, and will not find reward of his good deeds. Every proud and magniloquent man is hateful to the Lord, and every false speech clothed in untruth. It will be cut with the blade of the sword of death, and thrown into the fire, and shall burn for all time.
Okay, well, what do we think about that?
Again deep, and speaking not necessarily how we treat each other, again, on how we treat each other on this plane, on this level, on this vibration, does affect on what's gonna go on when we leave. One thing I do, again, and Penn, you know this, and Miss Harriet, you probably do too. I do admire my people who are Libras, because they balance scales very well, and understanding that there is a balance, that when you put something on that scale, it has to equal out. One thing about it is, God is a great mathematician. So 2 + 2 do equal 4. I don't care how big or how small you are. And if it doesn't balance out, somebody's gonna have to take that weight. And that weight is and that weight can be more than what you bargained for. So it's a thing about what we take with us. It's nothing. I don't think I saw nothing wrong with getting anything monetarily, but also being aware of your surroundings as well. You can't forget. You cannot be just a dominant figure without giving back. That doesn't. I mean, I guess that doesn't mean you have to break yourself for everybody. Example, Matthew gave me, which is so funny. Matthew and Aiden, they gave me a quote yesterday from Gandhi. Great quote from Gandhi, and was like, "Dad, guess where that's from? It's from Gandhi." And I was like, "I got a beef with Gandhi," and I do have a beef with Gandhi, and I have a genuine historic beef with Gandhi, but that's my beef with Gandhi. So, but did the quote touch me? Yes, it sure did. and for Matthew and Aiden to think about that quote and say, we're gonna get at the dad. You know, that's a dad's quote. Dad will understand that quote. Makes my beef with
What was it?
God, you know,
What was the quote you can share with us?
hmm?
What was the quote, if you can remember?
Hold on, I'll get it. I'll grab it. It is, I'm sorry. The quote is, be the change you want to see in the world. Mahatma Gandhi.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I even though I have a beef with Gandhi, but that's a political thing. I'm like, you never did nothing for black people, so don't talk to me. But that's a different beef. But still a very powerful quote that my children knew that I would understand. So that's acceptance. And I think that's what we have to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyone else? As far as as far as what we just heard, anyone else? What do you all think?
Yeah, the fourth verse in chapter 61, which we just read, and if his hands made it, but his heart murmurs, that is complain, and his heart does not stop murmurs incessantly, he does not have any advantage. That just kind of struck me, because in essence, what it's saying is, again, you know, when what we do, whenever we do it, if we do it from the heart and mean it, it is worth, well, it's there's nothing that can equivocate with what it's worth. On the other hand, if we do it from our heart, with the idea of being rewarded, and it's not really heartfelt when we do it, whatever it is, then we're going to suffer.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree, and I think I think that's speaking on the works.
And it limits us too.
Yeah, and I think that's where we speak on how so many people um speak on, it's not what you got, it's your works. It really is your works. It's what however you can lay your head down, and your works doesn't have anything to do with anyone else. It's a personal thing. It's however you lay your head down at night. So I agree with you, Miss Harriet. Miss Joe, Forrest, do y'all want to comment?
Well, I like when you talk about the deeds you do it from. If you do it from your heart, you just do it from your heart. And so, how I live my life is just to be a vessel to bring happiness to people. And that's like the Libra, talking about balance. And for me, I always kind of try to keep myself balanced as much as I can. And I think the good deeds that I do, what I do from my heart. And I know that God's rewarding me. So I say how I'm living my life today, I have to just be grateful and have this gratitude to make sure it's coming from the heart. And when it's coming from the heart, and that's good deed that God rewards me.
All right. Yeah. And never forget, you have your own sign. Your sign is always dominant. But yeah, always use that Libra to balance yourself. But use each and every one of us, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're here for. That's why we have our friends. That's what we're supposed to feed off of. That's what
Mm-hmm.
we're supposed to know, that whole knowledge is within each and every one of us.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get to know people, know those things and take those great attributes and like you said, weigh those signs. So cool beans for us. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Joe, how about you? What have you learned, and how can you apply it to your daily activities right now? You still with us, Miss Joe? Oh,
I can't tell. Let me just click this one time so I can see where we are.
64.
64. Okay, I'm gonna pause it right here. I'm gonna cut, because I think once I stop it right here, it comes back automatically. That's what happened the last time.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop share. Okay, yeah. Oh, Joanne's on mute.
Oh, Miss Joanne on mute. How about you, Miss Harriet? What have you learned today, and from us studying and going through what we've gone through with the Book of Enoch? It's always a journey going down this rabbit hole. What have you learned?
I think the more we look at the book of Enoch and the more we study it, the more I'm convinced that it really should have been a part of the canon that we call our Bible, because there is so much truth that he's giving us that is kind of, some of it is just not even mentioned, and others are just kind of glossed over. And I think that whoever the powers that be that put together what we call the Bible need to go back and rethink and kind of look at some of those books that are called the lost books of the Bible. And Enoch is definitely one of those that needs to be included as far as our Bible, the Christian Bible, is concerned, because there's so much truth in it that we can learn from, that and they're hard truths that might be a little difficult to swallow, but that's okay. And as far as moving forward with it, I'm gonna start to pay a little bit more attention to it.
All right, thank you, Miss Harriet. How about anyone else? Miss Penn, do you want to share and let us know?
Yeah, I think that what I got from today's session, because the Book of Enoch is a really difficult book for me. I'm gonna have to actually get my book back out so I can read it myself, because I think when it's read like that, I have a difficult time being read to. So that's just a hard thing for me to hear. I need to read it for myself. But I think that it's something that I wouldn't, I know we're doing our apocryphal readings and our Gnostic readings, because we're still in, the Gospel of Thomas, and we're doing this Book of Enoch. And I think that those things are really important, because, those are such important books that have been left out, that we, so that we can at least figure out where we are, because with the Book of Enoch is so closely related to the things of what we believe in our Judeo-Christian belief system. This whole, a lot of the things that were said here at the end was about, clean animals and unclean animals. And where did that come from? I mean, that was, poof, it had not been mentioned anywhere before. And now here we're mentioning clean and unclean animals. And so, I think that it's interesting to be able to understand, how we gauge, not only time in our chronological time, but through our history, but how we can assimilate the information that we're getting from this book, along with the information that we have already available, and how we can mesh those two things together. So I think that I really honestly think that we're on the right track as a group in reading stuff, whether I'm getting it, whether I'm getting it or not. is that, you know, we are at least allowing ourselves to be privy to this information, you know. And I think that you know, we are already on the right track by doing the right thing at this particular point in time. And I want to just continue to do this. I want to continue to do it. I don't know whether we need to read the book of Enoch again, but maybe I think we should read another apocryphal book, you know, maybe the book of Jubilees. And I know, T-Man,
Please
I know
don't get me started.
I
Please
know,
don't get me
I was gonna
started.
say, I know I'm about to pull your hair out.
Please don't get me started.
But there are so many apocryphal books that we can read. You know, we haven't even talked about the Maccabees. You know, there's Bel and the Dragon. There's so many apocryphal books that we can that are, but you know, that already are included in the Catholic canon, because the book of Enoch is not in the Catholic Bible, but the book of Jubilees is. So you know, there's a lot of books that are already included in the Catholic Bible, in the Catholic canon, that are not included in the Protestant canon. So you know, so those are some things that we can begin to look at, and you know, and to begin to understand, and so that we can also see where we are in history along in this time period as well. So I think that we're in the right place at the right time, and I'm just glad that you all wanted to come along and do this kind of thing with me, because I think that this is, you know, if information is always better to know. Whether we use the information or not is always better to know, in my opinion. Jojo, are you available? Okay, she might not be available right now.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Yeah, anybody's next? Did we get everybody for round table?
Forrest, have you done your round table, or?
I did just what I just said before.
Oh, okay, cool beans. Thank you, brother. So I guess that leads up to me. Big mouth. I got a big mouth. What I've taken from today again is understanding and reminding myself of the history that I do know, and the gift that I'm actually given by creation to go to look at it and go, hey, you know what? This is, we're so used to seeing it like this. So I thank you all for listening to my imagination, and I thank creation for letting me be able to let you all see from my imagination on the words and things that are going on. So I hope that you all have had a great time today, and
We did.
and we're able to keep up and incorporate. To be honest, I'm juggling so many things right now, but I'm having a great time doing it. And I appreciate you all just to actually listen to me and actually challenge me, and say, hey, well, where's that in history, or where is that in the Bible? I look forward to those things. So I want to thank you all, and I want to thank Inner Haven first and foremost, and continue to keep moving from there.
Thank you. Well, today, I think this was a wonderful session. I always like the book of Enoch, although I don't get it. I'm always lost, but I really love.
Can I say something to you?
Stop
saying I don't get it.
I don't. I'm not gonna.
I don't get it.
I'm not gonna stop.
I don't.
No,
wait. Let me finish. I don't get it yet.
Right. Okay.
And
Well,
that way, in time, you will get it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, for me, different strokes for different folks.
Okay.
If I don't get it now,
Okay.
it don't mean that I'm not gonna get it later. But
Right.
that's just
Right.
those
And
are
that's
just
why I said the yeah.
yeah. But those are just
we'll do the
those
book
are
of
just
Enoch by
semantics.
ourselves. Pen, we'll do the book of Enoch by ourselves, and I'll get into the alien part of it.
Oh no, more confusion.
Yeah. I'll get into that part. I know the aliens. I'm just trying to leave the aliens out of this stuff. I'm just trying to leave the aliens out. It's a Sunday school, y'all. It's a Sunday school.
Well, as far as I know, now Sakina, I asked Sakina yesterday on Thursday, was she going to be available? She said she would catch up with me on Saturday, so she has not caught up with me. So I would for tomorrow we can try. We can just kind of play it by ear. We can either do an open discussion session, or we can just call it a day and get ourselves continue, take a great Sabbath. So let's try to get on tomorrow at 2. We'll come on in the Science of Mind section, on the Science of Mind session, and if Sakina shows up, she does. If she doesn't, that's cool too.
Okay, sounds good.
Now next Saturday, we're not going to meet, but we will try to meet the last Saturday of the month. I don't have my calendar. Actually, I do have my calendar. So whatever day that is. Let me see. Here's my calendar right here.
It's the 30th, I think.
The 30th, yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, 7 + 3 is 10. Yeah. So yeah, so let's just come on the 30th and just say, hey, how you doing? Merry Christmas. Get ready for the Happy New Year. One thing that we could do if y'all want to, and this is something that we used to do whenever we would meet here in my home, we would kind of get together for the new year and do a bowl burning that would, you would put in all of your negative, you would put in two promises. One to, something that was negative that you wanted to get out of your life, and something that you wanted to put into your life. And we would burn those 2 promises in a burning bowl, knowing that the old would go out and the new would come in at the same time. So that's something that we can do, or we could just get together and say, hey, how is everybody? And and these are the toys that I got for Christmas.
All right, sounds good to me.
All right, so that's the end of our session for today. Would anyone like to close us out in prayer? Excuse me.
The big mouth gonna close us out in prayer today, but I want to close y'all out on something a little bit different, because I'm with our our family. Wish you were here. We but it's just me. It's me, Mom, and Al, and the boys. So
everybody, hey.
Yeah.
Hello.
Everybody, Penn said, hey.
Hey,
family.
Love you.
So let's end this like that.
You can hear it. Hey.
We can hear it.
If I can do all this, just imagine how it's gonna feel when we hug and kiss. She'll be doing all to when okay.
Thank you.
Exactly. And that's all I wanted. And that's all I wanted, for everyone to do that. Peace and blessings,
All right,
everybody.
then.
Have a
Love you.
Thank
blessed
you.
Peace
day.
and
See
blessings.
y'all soon.
Love
Bye.
you
See you
all.
soon.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Peace.